7 years behind this bar. I thought I knew every secret it held. But some secrets, they don't stay buried. They rise up, staining the very wood you stand on. I've been a bartender at O'Malley's for almost 7 years now. It's your typical neighborhood Irish pub. Dark wood everything. Brass fixtures. Those green glass bankers' lamps casting pools of light just along the bar. The kind of place where everybody really does know your name, and where the regulars have their designated stools, worn smooth from years of faithful patronage. I thought I knew every inch of this bar, every creaky floorboard, every stubborn tap that needs just the right touch, every corner where the dust likes to settle. But there's something here I can't explain. Something that's been growing more insistent lately, demanding to be noticed. And it all started with that damn stain. I first noticed it about 3 months ago, during my usual closing routine. It was a quiet Tuesday night, and I was giving the hardwood floor behind the bar its weekly deep clean. That's when I saw it. A dark, reddish-brown splotch, about the size of a quarter, tucked away in the corner where the bar meets the wall. Nothing unusual, really. In a bar this old, stains are just part of the decor. But this one was different. No matter how hard I scrubbed, it wouldn't fade. I tried every cleaner we had, from simple soap to industrial-strength solutions that could probably strip paint. The stain remained dark and defiant, like an old bruise that refuses to heal. I probably would have forgotten about it if it hadn't started to grow. It was subtle at first, so subtle I thought I was imagining things, but after a few weeks, there was no denying it. The stain had spread, creeping outward, like spilled wine seeping into fabric. By the end of the first month, it was the size of a coffee cup saucer. Now, it's nearly as big as a dinner plate. But it's not just the size that bothers me. It's the way it seems to pulse. I know how crazy that sounds, believe me, but sometimes, when I'm alone in the bar late at night, I swear I can see it throb ever so slightly, like a heartbeat beneath the floorboards. And then there's the cold. Every bar has its cold spots. It's just the nature of old buildings, with ancient heating systems. But the area around the stain is different. It's a bone-deep chill that seems to reach right through you, the kind that makes your breath catch and raises goosebumps on your arms, even in the middle of summer. The regulars have started to notice too. Old Jimmy, who's been warming the same bar stool for longer than I've been alive, refuses to sit anywhere near that corner now, says it makes his arthritis act up. Something fierce. Sarah, our Thursday night regular, told me she feels like she's being watched whenever she gets too close to that spot. Even Tough as Nails Mike, our bouncer, admits there's something not right about that corner. I tried to ignore it all, write it off as overactive imaginations, fueled by too many pints of Guinness. But then last week, Margaret O'Malley stopped by. She's the owner's mother, must be pushing 90 now, but sharp as ever. I hadn't seen her in the bar for years, not since her husband passed. She took one look at that corner and went white as a sheet. "Oh God," she whispered, clutching her rosary, "it's coming back." That's when she told me about Tommy Sullivan. It happened in 1978, back when the bar was still called Sullivan's. Tommy owned the place then. By all accounts, he was a mean drunk, with a nasty temper. The kind of man who'd start a fight over a spilled drink and hold grudges until they fermented into something toxic. One night, a stranger came into the bar. Nobody knows what started the argument, but witnesses said Tommy just snapped. He came at the man with a broken bottle, caught him right in the throat. The poor bastard bled out, right there on the floor, in that corner, where the stain is now. They arrested Tommy, of course. He died in prison a few years later. The bar stayed closed for months while the police investigated. When it finally reopened under new management, they'd replaced most of the floorboards and given the whole place a fresh coat of paint. But according to Margaret, there was always one spot they could never quite get clean. Some stains, she told me, crossing herself, go deeper than wood. I've been doing research since then, trying to find out more about the murder. The newspaper archives at the library had the story. Local bar owner arrested in fatal altercation. They didn't print the victim's name. Just another nameless drifter, they figured. No family came forward to claim the body. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The article mentioned that when the police arrived, they found Tommy Sullivan on his knees, frantically trying to mop up the blood with bar towels. He kept saying over and over, "It won't come out. It just won't come out." Last night, I stayed late after closing, staring at that stain. The bar was dead quiet, except for the hum of the coolers and the occasional creak of settling wood. As I watched, I swear I saw something dark and wet seep up through the floorboards, like the wood itself was bleeding. I got down on my hands and knees to look closer. That's when I felt it, a faint rhythmic pulsing coming from deep within the floor. Thump, 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 like a heart beating in the dark. And then I heard the whisper. It was so faint, I almost missed it, like someone exhaling right next to my ear. A single word, repeated over and over. Justice. I scrambled back so fast, I knocked over a bar stool. By the time I caught my breath and looked again, the stain was just a stain, dark and still, against the worn wood floor. But I know what I heard, and I know why the stain is growing. You see, I've been thinking about what Margaret said about some stains going deeper than wood. Maybe this isn't just about blood soaking into floorboards. Maybe it's about a debt that was never properly paid. A nameless victim whose story was never told. A justice that remained incomplete. The stain grows larger every day now. The cold spot has spread to almost a quarter of the bar. Last night, 3 different customers complained about feeling dizzy and nauseous in that corner. One of them said she could taste copper in her mouth like blood. I've tried talking to the current owner about closing the bar for renovations, maybe replacing the entire floor. But he just laughs it off, says the old wood gives the place character. He hasn't seen what I've seen. He hasn't heard what I've heard. I'm writing this because I need someone else to know what's happening here. Because I have a feeling things are building towards something. The stain is almost as large as a man now, spreading out in a rough human shape. And last night, as I was locking up, I could have sworn I saw footprints tracking up from that corner, wet, dark footprints that faded away before my eyes. I'm working again tonight. The bar will be full. It's Friday after all. But I can't shake this feeling that something's different. The stain was darker this morning, more alive somehow. And when I walked past it, I heard that whisper again, clearer this time. Soon. If you're ever in town, maybe stop by O'Malley's for a drink, but whatever you do, don't sit in that corner. Some stains never fade, and some debts can only be paid in blood. Last night, an elderly man came into the bar. He was well dressed, carrying an old leather briefcase. He sat in the corner near the stain for hours, nursing a single glass of whiskey. Just before closing, he called me over and opened his briefcase. Inside was a yellowed police file. He was a retired detective who'd worked the Sullivan case. He'd been haunted by it for years. The nameless victim they never identified, the justice that felt incomplete. He'd kept investigating long after retirement, and he'd finally found something. The victim had a name, Michael Collins. He was a private investigator from Boston, looking into a string of disappearances that all led back to Tommy Sullivan. Tommy wasn't just a mean drunk with a temper. He was a killer who'd been getting away with murder for years. Collins had finally caught up to him that night, but he became Tommy's last victim instead of his captor. The detective left me his card in the file. Maybe now, he said, looking at the stain, he can rest. This morning, the stain was gone, just gone. The floor is clean, like it was never there. The cold spot is gone too. The bar feels different, lighter somehow, like a weight has been lifted. Some stains never fade, it's true, but maybe sometimes all they need is for the truth to finally come to light.
Sweet dreams.